Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. At the heart of the Conservative Party in Westminster lies a black beating heart. It is something nasty, evil, a corruption of all that is supposed to be. This person is a man called Doogie Smith. He represents the truly awfulness of politics, and he is a bit of a mystery. You've never heard of him. I, until this article, had never heard of this man. And yet he is the true power in the whole of the United Kingdom, because he holds sway not just over an individual MP, but over the very Prime Minister of this great nation. He has the power to make them and break them, and nobody knows who he is. We'll take a look at this article because Nadine Dorries, who quit sensationally and has written a book and is explaining basically who runs Britain. And it seems to be one man. It's weird. It's just weird. Nobody knows who he is. Here goes. So who is Dougie Smith? The Scottish Tory fixer nicknamed the Wolf, with the power to bring down prime ministers. The Scot, said to be the most powerful person you've never heard of, after working for a succession of Conservative prime ministers, is at the centre of explosive claims in a new book from Boris Johnson's ally, Nadine Dorries. There is something unnatural, isn't there? There's something dark and disturbing at the heart of the Tory Party. And it seems to be this one man. They've allowed this guy complete and utter control to the point where he can take out prime ministers if he wants. This is undemocratic, but it's also disturbing that right there at the heart of our nation is such a creature lurking in the shadows, in the darkness, crawling out from under a stone whenever he's needed. The man at the centre of an extraordinary claim in Nadine Dorries' new book has been revealed as Dougie Smith, a Scotsman who's said to wield total control in Downing Street. And I'm thinking Malcolm Tucker. Something like that, perhaps. Who knows? He's worked as an advisor to a succession of Conservative Prime Ministers, including David Cameron, Theresa May and Boris Johnson. Smith was sacked by Liz Truss, but then reinstated by Rishi Sunak following her 45 days in office. At the time, one of Ms Truss's allies told the Express, "What worries me most about Rishi Sunak is the people he surrounds himself with. For example, he's brought back Dougie Smith. That's unforgivable. Smith is one of the worst people I've ever had to work with." Born in Edinburgh in 1962, he studied at Strathclyde University in Glasgow and was elected head of the Federation of Conservative Students, and was arrested over claims he threatened to kill a fellow FCS member. After university, he worked for a number of right-leaning think tanks and even organised swingers parties before being brought into the Tory fold by Mr Cameron. To be honest, if Mr Cameron was only a swinger, we could forgive him, but he is someone who much more likely appreciates the head of a good pig. This is an awful, awful human being that's done some pretty awful stuff. And yet, the Tories love him. They keep bringing him in. He's an evil piece of filth. Why are they so fascinated with him? It's stunning, isn't it? I mean, to give her a due then, if Truss, and let's face it, Truss was not bright. Truss was not good. Truss was, probably the best of the ones that were standing, but doesn't mean she was any good. But she had the acumen to get rid of this nasty, cancerous tumour that is Dougie Smith. And then, of course, Rishi immediately pulls him back because Rishi is inadequate. Anyway, Nadine Dorries, the former Tory MP and Culture Secretary, who was a staunch ally of Mr Johnson, has written a book called The Plot, The Political Assassination. In it, she claims a shadowy cabal called The Movement has controlled the Tory Party for the last 20 years. She says that members include the Aberdonian Levelling Up Secretary Michael Gove, former spin doctor and Brexit mastermind Dominic Cummings, and Doogie Smith. And as well as ousting Boris, she claims they brought down Ian Duncan Smith as party leader, created havoc for Theresa May, and undermined Liz Truss. It's not surprised. I'm not surprised that this level of sheer, unadulterated nastiness lurks at the heart of the Tory party. I say one and all, and I've said it many times, I hate politicians. There's very few politicians with whom I would happily sit and have a meal, for example. Very few that I consider to be on the side of the angels. And no party. All parties are by definition filled with corrupt, vain, narcissistic, nasty, self-serving wankers. Without fail, all parties. All parties. We must never look to politicians and say, and set them on a high and set them on a thing and say, oh, they're brilliant people, they're brilliant. None of them are. They're all wankers. But to have something so dark and crawling right at the heart of the British government under the Tories goes to show that they're not fit to rule. The book has been serialised in the Daily Mail, and on Friday it ran claims about a shadowy Tory fixer known as Dr. No, who once chopped a former girlfriend's pet rabbit into pieces and nailed it to her family's front door. It is widely believed the article was referring to Mr. Smith. This is a man at the heart of government. This is someone who kills animals, people's pets, as revenge or as a warning. And he is serving at the heart of a Tory government. A man who would do that to an animal is literally a psychopath. This country is being run by a psychopath. Is it any wonder we're so firmly fucked? We need a clean out. We need to actually get rid of the system of governance we've got and have no parties. Have 600 representatives, but all of them independents. The party system is screwed and is corrupt when you're allowing black-hearted animals like this power. On Saturday, the newspaper has unmasked the Scot and given him another nickname, the Wolf, after the fixer played by Harvey Keitel in Pulp Fiction and later the Direct Line television adverts. In the book, Mr. Johnson tells me stories that Mr. Smith ordered him to quit as Prime Minister, telling him over the phone, if you don't go, I'm going to take you down. I'll finish you off. In 1990, Mr. Smith was arrested over an alleged threat to kill fellow FCF member Toby Baxendale after he started dating his ex-girlfriend. West London Magistrates Court accepted his not guilty plea after hearing he had not meant to be taken seriously. But this was after he allegedly chopped the girl's bunny into pieces and nailed it to the family's front door. And now he's in government. Question the sanity of anyone who would employ him, but he needs to be jailed. Mr. Smith was also embroiled in an internal FCS row, after apparently false claim to be a student at Napier College in Edinburgh. His election as vice chairman was declared null and void, but the Mail claims he found a loophole to get re-elected almost immediately. The FCS was eventually disbanded by top Tory Norman Tebbit after a number of controversies, including a storm over Hang Nelson Mandela posters. Mr. Smith was also linked to a gang of Tory activists who launched a night raid on a women's peace camp in the 1980s and a plot to bring down the NUS by staging mock fights at demos. They need to basically, they've got to get rid of him, but they basically need to just break the Tory party up. If the Tory party are employing people like this, it goes to show how bad the Tories are. They are disgusting, they are corrupt, they are cancerous, they are damaging, they are truly a force of evil, simply by having this man in there. And others like him. Cummings, calling everyone an F and a C and a B. Can't get one word out of him that isn't insulting, because that's how he sees people. And of course he sees people like that because he too is a psychopath. There's no empathy, no sympathy, no understanding of what it is to be human. These people are not human. They lack a human soul. They are degenerate fuckers. Every last one of them. Anyway, by 2003, Mr. Smith and Mark McGregor, another former leading member of the FCS, were the brains behind Ian Duncan Smith's efforts to rebrand the Tory Party. He proved his worth to IDS's successor David Cameron, helping him to survive the Westminster expenses scandal and steering him to Downing Street in 2010. The report in the Mail states, over the past 2 decades, Mr Smith's political power has steadily grown, almost completely hidden from public glare. Well, we know now. And if he isn't fired by the end of today, then we know Rishi Sunak is basically employing a psychopath. Rishi Sunak agrees with what this man stands for, what this man does, and Rishi Sunak can be seen as no different as simply a psychopath. He's already a wanker. He's a non-tax-paying, green card-holding billionaire who, once he's fucked this country, can piss off to America free and easy with his billions of pounds and never look back. This is who we have running this country. Until today, it was said that only one photograph of him exists in the public domain, taken back in the 1990s, but the Mail obtained a new image of him entering Downing Street in December 2021. His wife, Munira Mirza, the director of Number 10 Policy Unit under Boris Johnson, and the couple are said to be the most influential people you've never heard of. According to the book, Mr Smith told Mr Johnson, I think you should go, you should stand down now, and we may let you come back again one day. You are poison like Nixon. If you don't go, I'm going to take you down. I'll finish you off. Who the fuck is this man to do that? It's the people of this country need to vote Boris out. But it is there. Anyway, according to Miss Dorries, when it came to behind-the-scenes manipulation and manoeuvring, all roads lead back to Michael Gove, because he binds all the dark arts people together. I've never trusted Gove. Gove is a goblin, isn't he? He's a little goblin sitting there in the dark and under the mountains, you know, rubbing his hands in glee as his enemies fall. Nasty, vicious, snide little shit of a man. Desperate to be the leader of the Tory Party, destined never to be the leader of the Tory Party, and that really makes him bitter. He's a bitter, tiny wastrel, isn't he? Anyway, she says the Scot, who's been the MP for Surrey Heath since 2005, we're talking about Gove, was in cahoots with Mr Cummings and Mr Smith as part of the movement. They were furious at the scale of Mr Johnson's electoral victory in 2019 because his 80-seat majority would make it more difficult to control him. And a source close to Mr Gove said, Nadine is a very talented, best-selling fiction author. Yeah. I think I would believe Nadine Dorries over anything that comes out of Rishi Sunak or Michael Gove's lying gobs. And there's Doogie Smith, however you pronounce it. Doogie Howser, the Mr Fixer of the Tory Party, and a psychopathic wanker. That's who you got running your country, folks. Still going to vote Tory? Coming up. And as of the time of this recording, he's still in place. There's been no announcement made. He's still there. He's still serving Rishi. He's still serving Michael Gove. The dark forces of the Tory Party. Bad, isn't it? When you get someone like that, actually, effectively, the Prime Minister of the country. Unelected, unknown, unseen, but actually the power behind the throne. The one whispering in the ears, isn't he? The worm tongue in the ears of the king. Oh well, that's who you get when you vote for these wankers. And don't get me wrong, Labour are no better. They've got them all. They're all there. That's why party system is so flawed. We need far more parties. We need much more coalition. We need to remove power from these people and put it back in the hands of the population. Give us the power. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. I hope I haven't frightened you too much about the state of the country in which we live. It is frightening though, isn't it? Malcolm Tucker, a psychopathic Malcolm Tucker at the heart of government. Till next time, stay safe, stay well, and just stay off their radar, or they'll be nailing your bunny to your door. Bye.